Hi, this is G with EnterTheDaggett, and this is the adventure ride of the Prairie Mountain Dual Sport Ride. Facilities for the Prairie Mountain Dual Sport Ride were nice. The camping is primitive camping, so there was no electrical, water, or sewer hookups. They did have a bathhouse, however. I pulled my toy hauler and we stayed in that. We used a generator so we could run the air conditioning. The property was a really big field everybody could park in. This video will be shorter as a bunch of the points I hit on in the dual sport ride, are the same for the adventure ride. An adventure ride means different things to different people. To some, the adventure ride could be the dual sport ride I did in my previous Prairie Mountain video. For this ride, I was riding on some paved roads, dirt roads, and forest roads. Though usually it is bigger bore bikes that ride these, there are still smaller bikes that ride. Like I mentioned before, these guys did not want to ride the trails. I had planned on riding the adventure ride on the second day of the Prairie Mountain Dual Sport Ride so my wife Dino could ride. She is learning to ride dirt and is riding a Suzuki DR200 and did not want to ride without me, so she did not ride on Saturday. She has been riding a street bike, which was a Honda Rebel 250. For this ride, I rode my KLR 650. On the Saturday adventure ride, I believe they did have a route sheet. On Sunday's ride, it was a lead ride, and riders were going to break up into groups depending on ability with one of the club members. When we started out on the ride, we left as a group. There were around 10 of us for this. Since Dino was new to off-road, she was riding a lot slower than everybody else. As this was one of Dino's first dirt rides, she rode her pace. This pace to a lot of people was really slow. It did irritate me at first, but then I realized that she was doing the best thing. Ride your pace. Since this is off-road and not in traffic, a slow pace is not dangerous like it would be on the street. So one of the Prairie Mountain Motorcycle Club members split off with Dino and me for a slower, less difficult ride. I say difficult because some of the roads they were going to go on, I believe, were a little more washed out, and some of the crossings in different places probably may have been a little more technical, even though they were still dirt roads. We still rode for almost 3 hours though. I unfortunately cannot remember the club member's name that was our escort. He was extremely nice and wanted to make sure we had a good time. I cannot, express how nice all the club members were for this, that were members of the Prairie Mountain Motorcycle Club. They put on a good ride, and they really made sure you had fun. We started out on a paved road that eventually turned into a dirt road. We hit some forest roads and ones that were some larger grade gravel. Now I have to admit, riding the larger grade gravel can be a little challenging even for experienced riders. Dino did a real great job on it, but it was still interesting. There were a few mud holes to cross, but nothing big. Dino did a good job of riding on and through these obstacles. Though this was not difficult for experienced riders, it can be daunting for a beginner. On this ride, there was a lot of beautiful scenery that is not caught in this video. So the best way for this is to get out there to the dual sport ride next year and ride this yourself. You will not be sorry. I also did not see as much as I kept looking in my mirror to make sure Dino was doing okay. Our escort stopped at one place and showed us where a bunch of trees that had all the tops twisted out where a tornado had passed through, and that was actually pretty interesting looking. Hopefully I'll have this signed up with this part of the video right here. We took a couple breaks and sat on the side of the road and chatted, hydrate, eat some snacks and stuff like that. As time went by, Dino's pace did pick up some as she was getting more comfortable with riding off-road and riding that particular ride. I know to some this may not be considered off-road. To someone who pretty much only rode street. A dirt road can be considered off-road, as the bike does handle differently, especially when you get in gravel, sand. It's a completely different ride. For me, I started riding dirt as a child, so I didn't have that curve like a lot of people who really start out riding street and then move into dirt have, especially as an adult. As you know, for when you're really young and as a child and thing, you have no fear, so there is no learning curve other than how to learn to ride the bike. But Dino did a really good job.
Yeah.
To summarize,
tornado?
the Venture ride was a lot of fun. Got to see some beautiful scenery and meet some great people. I think maybe next year I'm going to split it up again. Maybe ride the trails on one day and then ride the adventure ride the next day. Make for two separate, totally different rides. Makes for a good time. So I highly recommend it. So this is G with EnterTheDaggett. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe, as I would love to have you as a subscriber. I appreciate everybody who does watch this video, even if you don't subscribe, and I also appreciate all the subscribers I do have.